This is still go. Okay, it is streaming live. Okay. All right. Well, we bring you behind the scenes, folks, as we're about to go live, recording with Avi Lipkin, and we're glad that those who can see this see this. It's actually a luxury because you're going to get some true news. It's amazing how the Olympics try to cover up it's a Roman portrayal of a paint. No, the name of this sketch was called The Last Supper. So, okay, but dark times reveal who people truly are, don't they? All right, we're gonna go ahead and start. It's Avi Lipkin live from Israel, founder of the Bible Block Party, author, speaker, a world-renowned traveler, and he's very beloved. How you doing there, Avi?
Praise God, everything good, and it's the quiet before the storm.
Wow, wow. And tell us what the storm looks like from your vantage point this morning.
Well, as you probably know, on Saturday, the Hezbollah terrorists fired a rocket which landed in the Druze town of Majd al-Shams, which is in the Golan Heights. And 13 kids were killed, and another 30 were sent to the hospital in different stages of seriousness. These people in Majd al-Shams are from a group called the Druze, D-R-U-Z-E. There are Druze people living in Israel, Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan. The Druze are professional military people. They are loyal to the countries in which they live. So the Druze of Israel are loyal to Israel. The Druze of Majd al-Shams used to be Syrian. Officially, they're still Syrian. But what has happened is because of the disintegration of Syria in the civil war, a lot of these Druze people are saying, we're going to go with Israel because there is no more Syria. And I'll tell you something else also before I get into the meat of the matter. Before the Russians got involved in Syria, the Druze, who most of them live in the mountain of the Druze in the south of Syria in an area called Suwaida. Suwaida is their area. They were surrounded by ISIS. And ISIS wanted to kill all the Druze because the Druze are considered infidels by the Muslims. They're an offshoot of Islam, offshoot of Shiite Islam. But the difference between the Druze and the Muslims is that the Druze say that the greatest prophet is not Muhammad, the greatest prophet is Jethro, Moses' father-in-law. So actually the Druze are really very close brethren. And we treat the Druze with a lot of respect. We love them very much. So the Druze of Majd al-Shams have increasingly gotten closer to Israel and the Jews. There are 4 primary Druze villages in the Golan Heights, but there are also many more Druze villages in northern Israel. And like I said before, they are really the best soldiers we have. They are fantastic soldiers. There is no, refusal to serve in the Israeli military. There are no draft dodgers. They all go into the Israeli army. And so now they're all very angry with Hezbollah, and they are demanding that Israel whack the hell out of, excuse the expression, Hezbollah, and also Beirut, because Beirut is the capital of Lebanon, and these Hezbollah have members in the Hezbollah party in the Lebanese parliament. But of course, our good friend President Biden says don't. And that President Biden, the U.S. military, will not come to the help of Israel if Israel attacks Lebanon. And I wanted to share something. We are in a very, very delicate situation now, because on October the 7th, when the Hamas attacked Israel, and we lost, 2,000 people that day, and the war has been going on for 10 months. And Hamas is not interested in a Palestinian state. Hamas is interested in killing every last Jew in the world.
Right, and continuing to get money from their sponsors along the way.
Correct.
They tend to
From
hang on
Iran,
to their billions of dollars.
and Iran gets the billions of dollars from Biden.
Yep.
So that means that President Biden is interested in killing the Jews. And
are Jews waking up to this? I sure
in
hope
Israel,
they are.
yes. In Israel, yes. In America, Jews couldn't give a damn. Jews in America, most Jews don't care about Israel at all.
But
Anyway,
they don't understand that the hatchet is at their neck as well if they don't do something.
Well, from what we were told in our news here, if you give a list of what's important to the Jews of America, Israel is number 7 on the list. In other words, the Jews are more interested, of course, in American politics and American realities. Israel is some third world country far away. Listen, I'm from America. I know how the Jews feel in America. If you are really a Jew who cares about Israel, you pack your bags and you move to Israel. Those that don't pack don't care about Israel. Okay. So, given number 1, tentacle number 1 of the octopus is Gaza. That the only thing that interests them is destroying Israel. And when they attacked on October 7th, they basically taught Israel a lesson that Israel has to go in and destroy everything. I mean, destroy the infrastructure. And we are astounded. Every day we find new tunnels. It's impossible to understand how many billions of dollars have been spent in digging tunnel infrastructure under the ground. And we can't find our hostages because they're hidden somewhere. Either they're hidden somewhere or they're in Egypt or they're in Iran. They were taken out through the tunnels, out of the border. Then we have another enemy called Hezbollah. Hezbollah are not Sunnis like Hamas. They are Shiite, but they are united in one thing: kill the Jews. And that's really, really backed by Iran, who, as you remember, on the 14th of April, launched 350 rockets and UAVs at us. The Iranian regime also says, kill the Jews. So now Israel now is ready to attack Lebanon, ready to attack Beirut, wipe Hezbollah out, but President Biden says don't. And
you mean Obama and his goons say don't. The person claiming to be Biden, I think, doesn't know what day it is. And
yeah. By the way, I want you to know I'm very, very happy that Kamala Harris is running for president, because it'll be much easier for Trump to win, as long as the left doesn't assassinate Trump, because they botched it last time.
Yeah. You know, you still have the stupidity and the apathy of what I call the Starbucks patriot. You know, they'll share memes and scream and get angry, but they don't vote. So we need people to vote. And
absolutely.
34 million evangelicals didn't vote the last election.
As a matter of fact, in my previous Zoom an hour ago, I lambasted a lady who I love very much. She's very Christian, and I love her for being Christian, but she was saying, well, Trump uses bad language. So I said to her, listen, did you see the movie Patton? The movie Patton, General Patton, was the best general America had, and he was foul-mouthed. He was always cursing, which, of course, you know, ruffles feathers in the Christian community. That were
you can be a communist and a Satanist, but hey, if you're nice,
yeah,
and you don't curse, then it's okay, right?
Anyway, I said to her, I quoted you. I was saying 34 million people who are Christian did not vote, even take the effort to vote.
Yeah.
And the system in America is to vote. If you don't vote, then the other side wins. Okay. Now, if you remember last week, we spoke about Israel bombing the heck out of the Houthis in Yemen. And Americans didn't even know. It wasn't publicized. Only Americans who had the alternative news media or listened to this show knew that the Houthis launched an Iranian missile, which skimmed right over the American consulate in Tel Aviv, hit an apartment building, and killed one and injured 10. The next day, 18 Israeli aircraft with refueling twice or three times to Yemen and back completely destroyed the port town of Hodeidah. Hodeidah is the one port town that the Yemenis have. Yemenis said, "Oh, we're going to retaliate. They are not able to retaliate because Israel destroyed all their oil refining capabilities there. So there are 2 tentacles down and 6 more to go. Now, what's the problem? Let's look at the enemies of Israel. Turkey, who's a member of NATO, they announced yesterday that they were going to invade Israel. Turkey is going to invade.
They announced that they're going to, or was it a threat?
It was a threat.
Okay. Wow.
But I'm going to explain to you, and I think we've spoken about this quite a few times on your Zoom programs.
Mm-hmm.
What does Turkey mean in addition to killing the Jews? And of course, they're so anti-Semitic. They're Hamas. They want to kill all the Jews. It's the one thing they all have in common. Now, you know that Cyprus is a Greek Christian island. At least 60% of it is. 40% of the north was invaded by the Turks in 1974, and the Turkish army is there. Now, to the south of Cyprus, in the Mediterranean, there are gas fields, where you can extract natural gas from the Mediterranean seafloor.
Wow.
So Israel established an alliance with the Christians, with the Greek Cypriot Christians, and with people in Greece. And the idea was to build a pipeline for natural gas to go from this seabed to Cyprus, then to Greece, then to Italy.
Right.
And this would help to relieve the gas shortage as a result of the Ukraine-Russia war. Europe can start relying, that's the idea, on gas from the Israelis and from the Greeks. So enter the Turks. They said, no, that gas belongs to us. You're going to negotiate with Turkey, not with the Greeks. Now, Turks and Greeks are enemies. What's the story? Cyprus used to be Italian, more correctly, Venetian.
Right.
And the Venetians and the Spanish Catholics, they're both Catholic, had a very major sea battle with the Turks in 1571 called the Battle of Lepanto. This is my book number 8, which I'm dreaming to write. I can't write because I'm so tied up with these news briefs that I have to do because nobody's getting the news in America. So right. I'm doing this with you. So in 1571, the Catholics destroyed the Turkish navy, but Turkey still was so powerful that the Turks said to the Venetians and the Spanish, you're going to rebuild our navy for us. Otherwise, we're going to wipe you out. And one of the agreements was to rebuild the Ottoman Navy, Turkish Ottoman Navy. The second agreement was that the Venetians would relinquish the island of Cyprus to Turkish control. So it wasn't a Muslim place, it was a Christian place. But as part of the Ottoman Empire's plan to conquer the world and to impose Islam on everyone, they got Cyprus in 1571. And then there was a very big war with the Turks in 1878 in which the British won, and the British extracted a compromise with the Turks that Cyprus would become a British protectorate for 99 years. Just like, the British took Hong Kong for 99 years, and then the British had to hand over Hong Kong to the Chinese. So the Turks in 1977 said, that's ours, give it back. This is the agreement we signed. So from a historic Turkish perspective, Cyprus goes back to Turkey. Therefore, the gas goes to Turkey, not to the Greeks. So this,
Yeah, not a very good deal, huh?
well, anyway, in 1974, 3 years before this agreement ended, I was in the Israeli artillery reserves, and we were in the Negev in the south, and we were held over for the weekend as an emergency reserve guard because the Turks were supposed to be invading Cyprus, and that's indeed what happened. July 14th, 1974, the Turks invaded the north of Cyprus, killing thousands of Greeks, and 160,000 Greek Cypriots were kicked out of their homes and sent south to the Greek side. And my Greek friends have always been saying to me, Turks are going to come back for the rest. Because Muslims do not give up land. The worst thing for Muslims is to give up Cyprus, the Turks. So in 1977, no deal with the Turks. The Turks are waiting for their opportunity to attack Cyprus. So what does Erdogan say 2 days ago? He says, we're going to invade Israel. What he doesn't talk about is to invade Israel, we have to invade Cyprus. Because Cyprus is halfway to Israel. The Israeli army has been training in Cyprus with the Greeks. The Israeli Air Force has been taking off and landing in the airports in Cyprus. So the Turks are saying, we're going to shoot missiles at, Hezbollah has been saying, we're going to shoot missiles at Cyprus also. But the idea is, this is geopolitical strategy. The gas cannot be held by the Jews and the Greeks. It has to be controlled by the Muslims. So this is the reason for a major war. Another point, if God forbid, Cyprus is conquered by the Turkish military, between Egypt and Cyprus, no airplane can take off from Israel, because the route for the aircraft is over the Mediterranean between Cyprus and which would now be Turkey. So President Biden might be right that he's trying to prevent a conflagration or escalation to a multinational world war, because Israel is going to have to come to the defense of the Christians in Cyprus. It will have to come to the defense of the gas agreements that Israel and Greece and Cyprus signed. But again, the bottom line is the Turks will do that tactically. Strategically, the purpose is to kill the Jews and invade Israel. So let's look at the situation. I spoke to you last week and the week before, a few weeks before, about Egypt bringing in military 3 times as much as they're permitted in the peace agreement with Israel. Egypt setting up rockets to attack it. They have no one else to attack. The only people they want to attack is Israel. Why? To kill the Jews. So now you have Gaza, they want to kill the Jews. You have Lebanon, they want to kill the Jews. You have the Turks, they want to kill the Jews. You have Egypt, they want to kill the Jews. Okay? So the Egyptians are 100 million people. Turkey, 100 million people. Iran, don't forget, Iran launched 350 rockets and UAVs at us. Iran is 70 million people. The Houthis in Lebanon, in Yemen, are 40 million. And of course, you know, we have Lebanon, we have Syria. Jordan still has a peace agreement with us, but the government of Jordan might fall. You know, if the Shiites or the ISIS decide to terminate, or the Palestinians decide to terminate King Abdullah's rule, and we're going to have a very long border to fight over with the Jordanians if the Jordanian regime falls. At this time, Jordan is a friendly neighbor. We have a peace agreement. So Israel is before a cataclysmic war, and President Biden is saying don't. And President Biden is saying, we cannot help you, Israel. We cannot defend you. And Kamala Harris, what does she have in common with all these Arab and Muslim countries?
Well,
Kill
her
the Jews.
her stepdaughter's raising money for Hamas. Kamala
Kill the
Harris, folks.
Jews. So we have a problem with Kamala Harris. So it'll be very interesting to see. All I can say is, I'm an avowed Trumpist. I voted twice absentee ballot. 100,000 American citizens in Israel voted absentee ballot for Trump. Those of us from
Hope it was
America who
seen.
live in Israel, we understand who Trump is. He's our only friend.
Well, and of course the rest of the world too. It's pretty sad when there's rallies in England calling for America to elect Trump.
Right.
Has Netanyahu stated anything publicly
No,
about his meeting with
nothing.
Kamala?
Everyone is
And
wonderful.
what's that?
Everyone is wonderful. But anyone who has eyes in his head and ears in his brain and listens to what Kamala is saying, we know there's a problem ahead for us. I mean, the only solution is a Trump victory.
Yeah, folks, I blindly follow nobody, but numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. And are you better off than you were 4 years ago? I know terrorists are. Yeah, I saw a posting the other day, $150 to support Kamala. It's pretty sad when you got to pay people to come support you in your high school gymnasium rally. In the meantime, the media is doing their best to capitalize on the swamp's failed attempt to assassinate President Trump. And so that's pretty entertaining to see too. All the inquiries and man, Democrats don't get arrested; they don't go to jail. Only conservatives do, and it's coming to a head, folks. It's coming to a head. I saw something the other day. What's the best thing about Kamala? She's not Trump. The level of willful ignorance and delusion is absolutely astounding. That someone would rather vote for eventual communism and a lack of freedom. Nobody's talking about Agenda 2030. I am. I've been for, 10 years. It was decided in 1992. No cars, no homes, no meat, no freedom of travel for you folks. Agenda 2030 by Klaus Schwab. You will own nothing and you will be happy, And my gosh, open your eyes, folks. You're going to vote for the loss of your freedom and sovereignty, or are you going to vote in this case for Trump? So again, but I'm not talking to those people anymore. Netanyahu's speech, his speech was absolutely brilliant. He called the Hamas protesters really the paid goons who couldn't even articulate, anything about our Constitution or why they're even protesting that day. But you know what? You know who else are the useful fools, the useful idiots? Those who don't vote, those who just stop at the meme, those who support communist, anti-Israel businesses with their dollars. You're already supporting it with your tax dollars. Oh my gosh, you're supporting Hamas, you're supporting Hezbollah, especially when you support a Democrat leader. It is what it is, folks. And so here we are. But Netanyahu's speech, are there some reverberations in Israel right now still about the speech that he made in America?
Well, people are saying that it was a very good speech, but of course, people on the left-hand side, were saying that it was a horrible speech, and that they said a whole lot of nonsense things that it doesn't pay to repeat them even.
Yeah.
But the vast majority was stunned and overwhelmed with happiness. Listen, I've always said it. Netanyahu was the right man in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. I think it's nothing more, nothing less than providence that he's still alive. I mean, my gosh.
Yeah.
The same types of players.
Netanyahu and Trump.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. It's interesting that the countries around the world whose leaders admire, or in some cases, like in Argentina, emulate Trump, that their countries do better. Why is that? Well, it's about the policy, folks. a personality. You can vote for the first this, the first that, the latest DEI hire while your country falls apart. I mean, it just makes it's the most stupid thing I've ever seen in my life, and vote policy. There was a famous rap artist, and he was asked by his Democrat black host, he said, "Why are you wearing a Trump cap?" And the rapper said, "Because I paid attention in school. I know the origins of the Republican Party to free the slaves, and how they did not switch." During the Southern strategy, they didn't. It's just the Democrats became more clever talking to blacks. Hey, my black friends, how you doing? You doing better now? Did Obama help you? Did he bring you that hope and change? No, I didn't think so. But you know what? You enjoyed the most prosperity, and the Latinos too under Trump, who won every kind of award, inner city and whatever, from the same people that are now calling him racist. It's very sad. Avi, what we can do is what we can do. We can vote. We can support Israel. We can pray for Israel. And folks, someone's got to run for something in your local areas. You have a lot of power there. Look what's happened around the country at the school boards. You have the power to veto a drag queen lap dance to your kindergartner. My gosh, how vile and evil can a people be? I think our support for Israel is the only reason why we're standing. But what else can we do, Avi, during times like these?
Voting is the key. By the way, I wanted to tell you, I picked up some very interesting information about Venezuela. I'm changing the subject, but Venezuela is the soft underbelly of the United States. And, with the intervention of Cuba, Russia, and China, Venezuela has become a bastion of communism. It has become a bastion of narco-terrorism funded by Hezbollah, by Lebanon. And because the President Maduro, by the way, there are riots now in Venezuela because there are suspected dishonest playing around with the election results. Many Venezuelans are demonstrating in the streets of Venezuela. So what is Maduro doing in order to stir up nationalism? He says our next door neighbor, Guyana, British Guyana, 2/3 of it is really Venezuelan. It was taken away from Venezuela. We're going to invade Guyana and make it part of Venezuela. And so all I'm saying is the United States has the Monroe Doctrine, things in history that were right and have been buried by the left. I think America has to do something about Venezuela. And it may be that the new revolutionaries are going to be the right wing who are fighting Maduro and fighting the communists and bringing democracy to Venezuela. So we have to watch that very carefully.
Well, his latest election, dictators don't allow themselves to be elected out, folks.
Yeah.
Did you hear what I said, Americans? And so, you had a lot of billboards of Maduro being torn down by the citizens there. A very contested election. Even lawmakers in America are debating the validity of that election. Of course, which lawmakers those are. It's not everything vile. It's the conservatives. But yeah, something does need to be done. And who else is going to do it, folks? Who else is going to do it? Such a race to turn America Islamic and communist by the same players, folks. Don't fall for it. Support Israel. Support Avi Lipkin. Go to BiblicalAlliance.com and be a support there. Host Avi at your Zoom or church service and give him a love offering too, until he can come safely back to us in America. But we love you, Avi, and we're grateful for you. And
you too. Grateful. Also pray for Israel that we don't lose our electricity and that we don't lose our internet. So all these meetings that we're doing can continue.
So be it. God bless Avi. God bless his family. God bless Israel. And thank you, King of the Universe.